We've been saying for a long time that when the mainstream starts hearing about Bitcoin, when the mainstream starts being educated on blockchain technology, then we may be reaching the precipice, the tipping point, the bleeding edge, if not the cutting edge of where this world is going, where this industry is evolving, cocooning us and about to metamorphosize into this new world, this new society with finance, with technology, with this emergence of singularity of people and information in this new world. Well, when we reached a point when HBO is telling people about Bitcoin, when the CNBCs and Bloombergs of the world are telling people about Bitcoin, when the banks are purchasing and building blockchain-based technology, foundation, infrastructure for the new financial system, when we have Bill Gates warning us of an imminent, certain 2008 style financial crisis that we are potentially likely at the very edge of, this is a time when we start to wonder if this is it. If the shoe is about to drop, if the bubble is about to burst, if the bow is about to break, we may all be on the Titanic. The iceberg has long been spotted, and we may have been taking on water for the past 10 plus years. Let's discuss. Hey everybody, I'm Gary Palmer Jr., you're you, and together we are Minting Coins, your trusted source for crypto news, interviews, and ICO reviews. Thank you for showing up. Tap that like button. It really supports us and it helps other people find this content. Also, if you have any questions or comments, leave those in the comments box below so your voice is heard as part of the community. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing what's going on in the world, what's going on that's having Bill Gates warn us, inform us, let us know that we are facing 2008 style financial crisis that could be right around the corner. Either way, he is saying that this is going to happen, this will happen, and it's not a matter of if it will happen, but it's simply a matter of time. At the same time, we're seeing all sorts of news coming out from the banks, speaking to the banks, warning them about runs on the dollar, warning them about digital currencies, and not just the warnings about decentralized virtual currencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, but also warning them about the risks that central banks are going to be facing for the centralized banks' digital assets, the crypto fiat that a lot of people are expecting. And there are legitimate concerns. There are concerns right now. If a financial crisis was to hit, would there be a run on the banks? Would people go to the banks and pull out all of their cash? And we're talking about the 99% of the world who isn't even aware of Bitcoin or the potential or the promise that decentralized digital currencies bring to the masses. But then when we consider digital currencies, when we consider Bitcoin, when we consider the speed and efficiency of these transactions taking place, the banks are probably even more concerned about financial crisis plus digital payments because of the speed that people can pull their money out, convert their money, and can deplete or diminish the funds that the banks have, at least according to the ledgers, because as it stands, the banks are pretty empty of cash, pretty empty of precious metals, pretty empty of anything with tangible value. And ultimately, what's happening is that we are reaching a dichotomy. We are reaching the midpoint, being stretched between decentralized technology, decentralized trust, and centralized regulation. Centralized around regulators, around governments, around militaries, versus decentralized anonymously all around the world, people sharing this level of control. And what we're going to find out is what we have always come to find out, and that is the more centralized the technology is, the more likely that technology will be breached, that the security will be breached, that the databases will be hacked, or the more centralized the technology is, the more likely those systems are subject to corruption, the more likely those systems are subject to government or regulator intervention, taking down those technologies, preventing those technologies to operate as they have operated in the past, because there are these centralized points either with the people or the processes or the infrastructure that they could be taken down. So people will slowly, either through their own education of learning from other people's mistakes or by themselves making mistakes onto themselves, will learn the risks of both centralized technology, and they'll also learn the risks of decentralized technology. It's not a perfect poison no matter how we decide to take it, but ultimately what it does come down to is that the more decentralized the technology is, the more secure that it is, and the more decentralized the technology is, the more that everyone around the world can trust that technology. The more trust that the decentralized technology has, that is why the Bitcoin has value. That is why these virtual currencies have value. So there's a lot in there. And to help unpack this, let's go over the news. Let's take a peek around and let's discuss. So real quick, in the world of cryptocurrency, the recent Binance attempted hack that had happened, if you weren't aware, there was a lot of concern with the Binance exchange, if there was something funny going on, if there was a hack going on. Well, there was a hack taking place, but that hack was caught, and any loss of funds was prevented. And now that an analysis has been done and there are suspected accounts and the hackers lost their money that they were using inside the Binance platform to coordinate the attack. Now what's happening is Binance has now put out this wanted poster with a $250,000 Wild Crypto West award. And this is $250,000 in crypto with a USD equivalent of crypto. And this is going to be given to anyone who supplies information that leads to the legal arrest of the hackers involved in the attempted hacking incident on the Binance exchange on March 7th, 2018. So there might be a lot of ambiguity between what's legal, what's not illegal, but the laws of morality and the laws of karma will still reign supreme, especially in a world based on crypto anarchy and anarcho-capitalists. And there is now this reward out seeking for these people. So be careful about your actions. Be careful about what you do and the intentions that you have when you take your actions, because these people could be tracked down and they could be in a world of problems. And this reward could cause the stimulus to help them get caught. So as mentioned in the opener, we have John Oliver talking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and John Oliver's HBO hit show Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. He sort of says some good things about Bitcoin, definitely does not say some good things about EOS. Overall, I wouldn't say that this was very pro-Bitcoin or pro-blockchain technology. It is giving people a lot of caution and telling people about the risks of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And overall, the show really puts a lot of water on the flames of what's happening inside the space, really tampering down people's excitement around Bitcoin and blockchain technology and ICOs, rightfully in a lot of regards, but I don't think they really place enough emphasis on the strengths of Bitcoin. So we see a lot of push and pull in the media, pushing people toward Bitcoin or pulling people away from Bitcoin, just like with Bill Gates, who we're going to talk about in a second. Bill Gates was pro-Bitcoin. There's a lot of videos with Bill Gates saying some very good things about Bitcoin and blockchain technology. More recently, Bill Gates has said some negative things about Bitcoin, recently saying that Bitcoin actually kills people. But to his arguments, the US dollar has killed more people this year than Bitcoin has since its existence, its birth over 9 years ago. Well, in today's article, we have Bill Gates over here who says that we will have another financial crisis like 2008 and that it's a certainty. He says that we should brace ourselves for this because it's coming. He says that it's hard to say when, but this is a certainty that it will happen. Fortunately, he said that we got through the last one reasonably well. And why did we get through that last one reasonably well in 2008? Well, it's because of the TARP bailout that happened in the subsequent years after that. That TARP bailout that we are still paying for, that money is still being printed for, that TARP bailout that created so much more money in the world, it's significantly devalued everyone else's money who has already had dollars in the bank, dollars in their savings. And all of these dollars need to get paid back. All of these dollars that get created, that get printed, that get spent on the government or the banks or infrastructure or legitimate concerns like environmental disasters or, healthcare or whatnot. All of this needs to get paid for. The military, all of this needs to get paid for. But on top of it, in 2008, such a large bailout that is the reason why we got through those hard, uncertain, and devastating economic times. The bankers knew they were going to get bailed out, and when they got bailed out, they simply postponed the inevitable downfall of the economic cycle, of which, statistically speaking, they say that we're overdue for already by a couple of years. And so this is really concerning. This is really concerning that we have Bill Gates who are giving us this warning that is letting us know that this is going to happen. We have other people who are talking about this like Tony Robbins, other people who are talking about this all across the world, including bankers who are preparing for this. Around the world, over in China, we have the People's Bank of China chief who says cash might become obsolete as digital payments evolve. This is what they think. This is what a lot of central banks around the world think. China's central bank governor saying digital currency likely to overtake fiat. Tim Draper, the American entrepreneur, the American venture capitalist, had said the same thing. A year ago, he said that people are likely not going to be using fiat currencies at all in 5 years. He said some people may be using fiat currencies, but they are going to be the equivalent of people using landlines or the equivalent of people sending mail. According to the Central Bank of China, fiat currency, cash currency, is likely not going to exist in the years ahead, not in the not too distant future. But what's even more interesting than that is what the BIS says, that the central bank digital currencies could fuel bank runs. And so the BIS is the Bank of International Settlements, the BIS. And this institution is considered by some to be the central bank's central bank, the central bank that these central banks go to and use. And they are warning about the central bank issued digital currency. What they're abbreviating here is the CBDC, because it could fuel faster bank runs. They were really concerned about bank runs. We've talked about this in the past in the Washington Post in February 2016. We had Jerome Powell talking about removing the US $100 bill out of circulation. And the reason he says that we can remove the US $100 bill out of circulation is because people are so used to digital payments, because we can move more toward digital payments, and that with a negative interest rate, we, being the central banks, can implement negative interest rates onto bank accounts, and they can do that because people are used to digital payments. They can do that because they can remove the $100 bill, and then by doing so, forcing people to lose more of their money in the spending of the cash, losing more of their money in the savings of their money by allowing a higher loss of their wealth due to the inflation that infects fiat currency around the world. And this is why we love Bitcoin, because there's never going to be more than 21 million Bitcoin. It's going to cause the prices of things to go down instead of causing the prices of things to go up like we've been experiencing for the past 100 years with the US dollar. And this is what's going to continue to happen. And now, in this case, the central banks are warning that central bank issued cryptocurrency in periods of stress could encourage a flight of the crypto fiat toward other assets, toward decentralized assets, perhaps like Bitcoin, like Ethereum, like blockchain technology. A lot of people are already expecting an exit of the US dollar from the crypto exchanges, from the Coinbases of the world into the world of Bitcoin and blockchain technology. But the problem in those areas, as we have seen so many times in the past, is that Coinbase goes down. A lot of people flood the system. The system is not able to handle that sort of load, that sort of demand when everyone rushes to the website at the same time, causes a bottleneck and where people can't get through. Well, if the countries make their own fiat-based cryptocurrencies and they don't have huge amounts of control built into them, then that could be a risk that they face. Well, with this warning, they likely won't create the currency that will allow people to do that. But if they create all these additional restrictions on the fiat-based cryptocurrency, then a lot of people aren't going to want to use that fiat crypto compared to Bitcoin because of the restrictions imposed, and those restrictions don't exist on open source public utilities, open source decentralized blockchain technology, for example, like Bitcoin, like Ethereum, like Litecoin, like Monero. And that could be a reason why some of these currencies become either straight out illegal or highly, highly regulated in the world moving forward. And as we see so well articulated inside this tweet, banks want to kill Bitcoin, the wealthy want to kill Bitcoin, economists want to kill Bitcoin, governments want to kill Bitcoin, and they'll all learn you can't kill Bitcoin. It's too big, it's too secure, it's too powerful, it's too decentralized, it's borderless, it's permissionless, it's immutable, and all of these reasons that governments seem to not like Bitcoin are the very reasons why Bitcoin has so much strength. These are the very reasons why Bitcoin has value, and these are the very reasons why we personally think the value of the blockchain industry and Bitcoin specifically will skyrocket moving forward, especially if we see the successful implementation and release of the Lightning Network mainnet, of which we hear they have over 1,000 nodes now testing that system. Very, very exciting times. And anything that is centralized, anything that is seeking to be a public open source utility, anything that's pretending to be those things that is not, there will be an entry point to break those systems. BitConnect, we saw, was not an actual blockchain. It was a centralized structure, and now BitConnect is gone. Here in this post from Tone Vase, this is very, very important. And let's read this quote. Tether, in this example, we've talked about Tether before. They have not released their audits. They are a centralized organization, seemingly blockchain, open source technology with huge flaws in the fundamental infrastructure of what's going on. And so Tone Vase is saying, Tether is evil. It's not decentralized. It's centralized. And the day the U.S. government wants to shut down Tether, they will. I mean, it's inevitable, and Tether goes down. Tether's going to go down. Tether's going to be down for the count. We don't know when this is going to happen, but a lot of us in the space are reasonably sure that this will absolutely happen at some point. Tether, if left to its own devices, will increase its total market capitalization naturally as the whole space increases. But any of these projects in the space that have these centralized components will be taken down with the regulation. They will be taken down with the focus and concentration and the will of the authorities that seek to take them down, and they will do that. They will be able to do that because these centralized components is just as simple as that. So I have to be honest with you, when we saw the headline with Bill Gates talking about the next economic crash coming and that it's going to be a certainty, it really struck a chill with us. We remember all too well what happened in 2008, and we understand very clearly why 2008 wasn't a worse situation than it could have been, right? They made a couple movies about that, and you can definitely check those out, blockbusters that really talk about, those situations that unfolded. One example is our personal favorite, The Big Short with Ryan Gosling. Definitely check that out. Watch that 10 times in a row, if you will. But, hearing what Bill Gates said, recognizing that a lot of industry leaders are talking about this new economic crisis that's going to be on the horizon. It's not just the blockchain people. It's not just the gold bugs. It's not just crypto anarchists out there in the world. We have real respectable business leaders, the traditional technology and business world, who are telling us this, who are warning us of this. And then we have banks who are working with each other. They're creating systems to help control people's money and prevent people from being able to move it, or the way that they can use it, or imposing negative interest rates, which is going to charge people a fee in order for the bank to keep the people's money safe in the bank. It's just crazy, these situations that are happening. It's crazy where this world is going. And it's definitely interesting to see how blockchain technology is adding to the conversation, how blockchain technology is helping people ask a lot of questions. And although they're receiving some answers, it's really creating more questions in the number of answers that they're receiving. So with that being said, I would love to know What new questions has this brought about for you? What do you think about what Bill Gates is predicting, what Bill Gates is warning with this crisis looming, and what you think in the comments box below? All right. Also, tap that like button if this video helped you or inspired you or brought you any new information. We really appreciate that. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check us out on social media. And until next time, I'm glad that together we are minting coins.